Now, I was recently lucky enough to be asked to go and test drive a camera from FUJIFILM from one of my suppliers in Auckland, and I'd had the camera out before, but the camera I was going out to test last weekend was the FUJIFILM GFX100, which is the 102 megapixel monster medium format digital camera. Now, I've had this camera out before, so I was looking forward to getting out again, and I was, as I say, privileged to be asked to do that for FUJIFILM. I drove 3 hours from here, got to the retail outlet, and then another half hour to get to location. And on location, things were, they were mixed. Zing! Bloody thing. So have a look at the video and see how we got on. So I'm down in Narrowneck on the north shore of Auckland, and this is actually attempt number 2 at Narrowneck. I was here last night, and as you can see, I've given up the security blanket of my Pentax 645Z just for tonight. Now I've got the GFX100 by FUJIFILM. And I don't know what was bluer last night, the sea, the sky, or my language. So I got all set up, and the light was really nice last night. And got the camera out, the lens on, got it on the tripod, got framed up, and the camera wouldn't power up. The batteries had been on charge, so I'm not really sure what was going on with it last night. So it's powered up today, so I'm going to try and go through the same process again. Where I'm at is I'm actually down on the beach at Narrowneck, which overlooks Rangitoto Island. And Rangitoto is the youngest volcano in New Zealand, and I think it was only formed about 250 years ago after a big massive eruption. And in this area here we've got some lovely leading lines out to the island behind me, and just behind where the camera is over here we've got some really crazy rocks. So I think what I'm going to do tonight is I'm here about a half an hour early. I did all my scoping last night because I was here last night. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to recompose. There's probably 2 or 3 shots I'll take tonight. This lens I've got on here is a 32-64 by FUJIFILM. And if I go to the 32 end, that's much wider than I normally shoot. So this is going to be a bit of a challenge for me tonight, but this will be a good opportunity to try and just strip everything back, turn all the wizardry off in this thing. This thing's really technologically advanced. But turn all that stuff off and just go right back to manual, slow everything down, and see how we get on. I've had this camera out before. It's a big camera, but it doesn't really feel like a medium format camera. It feels like an oversized DSLR because it's fast. The focus is fast if you use focus. Landscape photography, we don't. Everything's on manual. But it's really, really nice, and the 4K video in this thing's really cool as well. So I'm going to try and set up, stop banging on, wait for the light to come through. I've checked the west coast tonight, and the west coast is clear. And I don't know if you can see behind me, there's some clouds just above the island, and these are the things that should catch the sunlight tonight when I'm shooting. So as the sun goes down over the west, these things hopefully should glow pink. It's been a really hot day today. It's been 30 degrees nearly, and there's quite a bit of condensation through evaporation in the air because of all the water that's around Auckland, and that's given us quite a blanket of haze above us, and that too should allow some colour to come through. But we'll see how we get on. We'll see how we get on. Now these here are all the leading lines that lead your eye out to Rangitoto Island, almost curve round towards the centre. And these lines there on the left of the frame now are what we saw just a few minutes ago. And I think if I try and get, this might be quite messy, but if I try and get a panorama to include all this stuff, it should lead your eye to the island. I have plenty of time, so I need to just set up and compose here and see what I'm going to see. The beauty of being in your location in plenty of time is that you can take in the location properly and watch the changing light as we approach sunset. But I find myself in the corner of a beach here, with my back actually turned to the lovely light I'm here to shoot. So this is quite interesting because this is not the way I take photographs. It's actually pretty cool. One of the things I found when I was doing workshops and teaching years ago, when I spoke about seeing stuff through viewfinder eyes, I actually found that when I went to medium format, I saw landscapes differently. Because I wasn't just looking at shapes and colour, I was looking at shapes, colour and detail. And knowing the file quality of this thing here, I'm actually looking at detail within detail, within detail. So these close-up, intimate studies, I don't do them. But this is interesting because I'm seeing this landscape completely differently because I'm holding this camera that I know is going to capture it and more. This is bizarre. I'm going to take one more. And I'm also on automatic focus, which is again not like me. That's okay. Right, back to landscape photography though. What I'm going to have to do is I'm actually going to have to work really quite hard and fast here. I'm waiting on the light to change. And I'm going to compose up in this group of rocks here to the left of the frame that I'll start at. Should be in the panorama in the bottom left corner and leading your line to the left of the mountain. And then as I come wide, because I'll do a pano, I've got 3 to take. I've got 3 to take and I'm going to have to work quite fast, I think, because we'll get a very short window of light here. I've got this one to take, I've got the rock pool to take, and I'll also take the wider multi-lady line one coming in as a panel. So I'll probably shoot this at about 35 to 50 mil, which again is quite wide for me, and stitch them all together if my computer will cope with these massive files. It's just now really a case of setting up the first shot, taking light meter readings and just waiting. So that's the first frame there, as you can see in the viewfinder here. I'm just going to keep that corner free of rocks and frame everything around it. So I have to get the tripod set up, the leveling base set up and the camera level. So I'll get that done and then we're good to go waiting for the light. Now people do ask me if I have to think about taking landscape photographs as it seems to be second nature to me, and the answer is yes, I just zone out quicker. And when I'm concentrating this fast, I'm completely oblivious to my surroundings, like the people on the beach here. And when I'm this focused, it's just me, the camera, and something nice to look at. So I'm going to take this now, and this is going to be a 3-shot horizontal pano. And this is coming up to, I'm going to wait just a couple of minutes until that softens on the island. And I'll probably be working with about an 8-second timer at f11. In fact, I'll actually go to f16. So with medium format, because it's got a bigger sensor, it gathers more light. The f-stops are slightly different as well. So f16 probably is more like f11 on medium format to full frame. And that just gives me a wee bit more latitude to go to 15 seconds rather than the 8 seconds. Now one of the things I do like about this is you don't have to have an intervalometer, it's all built in here. So you set up your shutter speed and you just go from there. It's pretty cool. I'm going to take this because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 photographs to take. So I'm probably going to lose this light. This is not ideal, but it's a good indication of how the camera works. And again, this tripod's so stable I don't need the 2-second timer. Now a good test for any new camera is your first impressions to the files, even on the back of the LCD. That's really detailed, holy Moses. Bloody hell. That's pretty impressive. So, it's about a 1/3 overlap. I think when people see outside anywhere with a great big camera like this on a serious tripod, and probably with a camera person behind you, they seem to think that you know what you're doing and what you're talking about. And that's not always the case. And they also want to take what you've found. But public spaces are there to be shared. Now, despite my best efforts, I never ended up getting this panorama, but that's all good because it's not about the photographs. It's one of the things with landscape photography, if somebody comes and walks and stands in your scene, you just have to tolerate that. Although it's pivotal because I shoot at a particular time, it can't be helped though. Some lovely colours now in the sky. There's some lovely pinks. It's just the last of the refracted light, so we've got greys, blues and whites and some of the pink cloud. You've got pink band of colour in the sky now too, with the high clouds just catching a little bit of colour on the top, which is really nice. But the light is falling fast, so I'm going to run out of time maybe for this last shot. So I won't take a pano down here. This one's a pano, 3-shot pano. But the last one will have to be a single shot with the rock pools to try and catch some of that colour. Second one. And these are all 15-second exposures, so the colour of the sea over there though is really nice with that pink behind it. And that sort of aqua turquoisey blue that we get. It's quite a unique colour here on the Hibiscus Coast. It's really nice. Now this neither is the way that I shoot. I don't do foreground object interest. But again, I've got the wide angle lens, so I'm just giving it a little shot. Now this last one's quite nice because we've got the shape of the mountain, but we've got an invert in the pond, in the puddle, that almost echoes the shape of the mountains. It's very artistic, and certainly very artistic for me. So that's the end of the shoot with the GFX100 on Narrowneck Beach. Now I was sent here by Stephen Milner as a location, and this is actually a really cool spot. With regards to the camera, I know I mentioned just the last video I did that I was looking at new equipment. And to be honest, I'm not quite, the files in here are beautiful. They're really, really nice. But I'm not sure that my workflow would allow me to make the most of this, because I actually enjoy the creativity of panoramas. And I wonder if panoramas with this thing here, a 100 megapixel camera, whether it's this or the Hasselblad, is just too much. Because I know when I print these images really, really big, they're as sharp, I think, as they need to be. So my temptation for going for this camera here might have been the wide angle lenses to get 100 megapixel resolution in one single file. But as I say, I enjoy the creation of panoramas. So until next time, you keep shooting, you have fun. Try some new equipment if you want. It's hard though, it's actually quite hard. And get out and take some photographs, take some panos, and see how you get on. So until next time, thanks for watching, and cheerio. And that's the second day of what was supposed to be a 2-hour shoot drawing to an end. And despite early setbacks, I've been treated to some beautiful light both nights, and it's great to be out here. And I think I got some lovely shots. you.